The candlelight flickered in the dimly lit corridors of the monastery, casting ghostly shadows on the cold stone walls. King Pedro of Portugal sat in silence, his hands gripping the armrests of his throne-like chair, his eyes fixed on the coffin before him. The whispers of his courtiers filled the chamber, their breath held in anticipation. Tonight, justice would be done. Tonight, the dead would reign. Years earlier, Pedro had been a young prince, bound by duty but ruled by passion. His heart had been lost to Ines de Castro, a lady-in-waiting to his wife, Constanza. She was beautiful, her golden hair a cascade of light, her eyes a reflection of the moonlit waters of the Mondego River. Their love was forbidden, whispered about in the halls of the kingdom, but love, as Pedro knew too well, was not so easily silenced. When Constanza died, Pedro and Ines were free to be together, but their happiness was short-lived. King Afonso Broforto, Pedro's father, saw Ines as a threat to the throne. Her Castilian lineage and her influence over Pedro endangered the kingdom, or so the old king feared. One fateful evening, while Pedro was away, Afonso's assassins stormed the monastery where Ines lived. She fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face, pleading for mercy, for the love she bore Pedro, for the children they had together. But mercy was not to be found in the hearts of men who followed orders. Their blades struck, and Ines crumpled to the floor, her blood staining the cold stone, her cries lost in the silence that followed. When Pedro returned, his grief shook the heavens. He defied his father, waging war against the crown itself. But his vengeance was incomplete. Afonso died before Pedro could claim retribution. Years later, as king, Pedro fulfilled his final promise to his beloved. He declared that they had been secretly married, making Ines his rightful queen, even in death. To seal his oath, he had her body exhumed, her lifeless form adorned in royal robes. Before the court, nobles and clergy alike were summoned to kneel before their queen. One by one, they pressed their lips to the bones of her outstretched hand, and so the dead ruled beside the living, and Pedro's love for Ines defied even the grave.